have bees to feed them, basically she would die because she has no way to keep warm. She wouldn't be able to feed herself. If I already have a colony of bees and they need a queen, if you ship me a queen, I could probably put her in there in a cage, and over a 5 to 7 day time period, they would get her scent, her pheromone, they would feed her, and then they would release her from the cage, and then she would be colonized.
Maybe that's what he used to do.
Okay. And then once they're colonized, if she's not already bred, she'll do a breeding flight. She'll breed with anywhere from 9 to 15 drones, which are the males. And then she'll come back, and then she'll spend the rest of her life as a slave to the hive, laying 1,500 bees a day for the rest of her life.
Wow. So it's really not all that good to be the queen when it comes to being a bee, I suppose.
No.
Well, it's just like 90% of your bees in a hive are female.
Yeah.
And they're all workers. It's just like mom does your laundry, mom cleans your house, mom made the food, mom. That's basically what 90% of the bees do. You have 9% of those bees that are males, and they're like our typical males in society. We eat chips, we watch football games, we want mom to feed us. And then you have 1%, which is the queen, and basically she puts the demeanor on the hive if we're going to be mean and aggressive, if we're going to be huge pollinators or nectar flow. And basically she says, oh, we're running out of nectar, I don't see a lot of pollen bringing in, I'm not going to lay as much because we will not have enough food to feed the new brood that will be hatching. Or she'll say, wow, we have a lot of people shaking this beehive, a lot of predators. I see mites. I see mice coming in. I saw a couple of hornets. You guys need to be super, extremely aggressive because I don't want them in the hive. And then the bees come aggressive, and they keep a perimeter out around the hive. Or she'll see lots of pollen and lots of bees bringing in nectar, so she'll go, I have to start laying lots more brood because there's so much food source out there. We need to populate it and get more workers out there to bring in that nectar to make honey. So then she'll start laying more larvae. So it's a seasonal thing as well as temperament of what goes on.
Sorry, my mic was off. That's really cool. Yeah, I just spilled my wine, so I'm busily cleaning it up. It's like, oops. Sorry, David. I did break the glass, though, so that's good.
That's why most honey harvest is done around September or October, because most of the nectar flow is done. That the bees there's not a lot of floral going on, and so most beekeepers are like, well, the boxes are full, the bees need less space to keep warm, so we'll go ahead and downsize the space by taking the honey boxes off, or if you're doing top bar beekeeping, we're going to make the hive a little bit smaller, and that way the bees have less space to work in. And it gives them an opportunity to winterize, and then when spring comes out, probably after Mother's Day, where we've got lots of flowers and dandelions, they start populating and making honey again. Some people will pull honey a couple times a year, but most beekeepers that have anywhere, I have 173 beehives that we manage. So, we're pulling honey a couple times a year, but most of our honey's being pulled at the end of the year, and then used either to feed back to the bees a little bit to make sure they make it over the winter, or I have a granola contract that I sell. I have to make 2,000 pounds of honey to sell to a granola company.
Oh, cool.
So I do that, and whatever's left over, I'm drinking.
Great. Well, except for where I live, where there is never any downtime. I don't know if there's a bee downtime, though, but there's never any winter here.
Where are you out of?
Miami Beach.
Yeah, I know you have. You only have 1 month of Darth. That's usually around January, and the bees aren't even probably in Florida on a huge scale unless they're backyard beekeepers, because between January and March, we ship 400 million beehives, or 4 million beehives, 4 million beehives to California to pollinate the almond fields. 92% of all the almonds in the world are grown in one location between Bakersfield and Stockton, in that Tulare County area of Kingsville and stuff. All the almonds in that area need pollinated, so we ship every commercial beekeeper there. That's the pollination contract. That's the money maker. That's the largest money maker in beekeeping, is the pollination contract. So all the bees in the United States usually head that direction, pollinate the almond fields, and then they drop to Southern California, hit the oranges, or they head north into Oregon and Washington to hit apples, circle around the outer perimeter of the states. If they're heading north and across, they're hitting the clover run between Iowa to Kansas, or they're going through Texas and hitting the watermelon cucumber run. And then they make it back to the eastern seaport where they're doing berries, and then the oranges in Florida again.
So how do you move hives? How do you move the hives without ticking off the bees or losing half of them? You do it at night and cover them up, or what?
Man, you're a beekeeper. You did good.
I was just a guess because I know most insects go dormant in the evening, and I am looking into getting into beekeeping, and that's another question I'm going to have for you later.
Yeah, that's most of your pollinators. They net the beehives. They go in. They squeeze down their boxes. You try to put as many bees in one box as you can to ship. That way you have lots of bees to do pollination. You don't try to have just a few bees. A lot of the bees are, those boxes are weighing at least 100 to 120 pounds. So those bees can go out there and pollinate the almond fields. And at nighttime you go in, you screen them off, or you load them right up with a forklift onto the truck, depending on how large of a pollinator you are. Most of your pollinators are running pallet boxes. It's a single honey box on a pallet, and there's 4 honey boxes on a pallet. And each one of those pallets is about anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a piece for pollination. And you just load those up on the truck at night, and they throw a big net on them. And your object is to get to California as fast as you can, stopping at a couple places to spray water on the netting, so the bees can have something to drink as they come out from the heat. They travel mostly at night, and you try to just press all the way to California as fast as you can and get your hive inspected, and then get to your pollination contract location to put your bees out to start pollinating almonds. And if you have 1,000 beehives and they're renting at $200 a month, that's $200,000.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, holy crap!
So January, February, and March is a 600. That's $600,000 for some of us beekeepers. They call it beekeeping as a billionaire's industry because of the bee in billionaire. Right? 3 months I make $600,000 on 1,000 beehives. I used to be a pollinator. That's how, when I first started back in 2003, we did pollination run, and we had over 2,275 beehives. And we used to throw them on a truck and pollinate, and it was work. It took all the fun out of the beekeeping that I'd learned to do and what I was doing and how I was trying to get honey to make mead. But I made my money back, and then when Katrina hit, I donated 1,500 beehives to beekeepers throughout Louisiana so they could regrow their bees. I was able to take a tax write-off for that, and I didn't have to keep as many damn bees anymore. And because it's work. Going out and flipping beehives and having people work for you in the heat of the day. And there's not a day that, after a while, it's not how many times did you get stung. It's, man, thank God we didn't get stung today. Because, it's work. You're going to be sweating. The sweat's getting your eyes. You're going to try to rub your face. The veil's in your face. If you're not wearing a sweatband or something, those bees are on your veil. You just push it against your face. They sting your face. Bees will find the littlest hole anywhere on that bee suit, and they'll crawl in, and once one finds out and they sting you and put that marker, that when they sting you, it's like an alarm system. This marker tells the other bees, oh, this is where we need to sting this bastard, and they move right in, and next thing you know, you're getting stung a couple times. Right? It's an art form. It's a true art. Sometimes I think the bees pick the keeper. And I think because you have to work slow, you have to be spiritually aware, right? That you're working with something that at any moment could turn tide on you. It's almost like a lion tamer, except for you have a suit on that you can't see out of. You could trip at any moment, wearing this big bulky suit that makes you look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I mean, I truly feel that there's a calling for some people to be beekeepers, that you have to really, truly love it. I mean, I've got photos of me kissing bees. I did a couple photographs for National Geographic of nude beekeeping. I mean, I think it has to do with, you really have to know yourself and be calm and be able to work slow and enjoy the art, or it's not going to be any fun for you at all, right? It's not any fun having something bang around you and the adrenaline's rushing and you're putting out a pheromone yourself of, oh shit, I'm scared, and the bees are like, oh shit, he's scared, we're all scared, and it's like a shark smelling blood and water.
It's like bee motions.
Yeah, I always figured that I do armored fighting, so I'm used to rocking around in a plate mail, so that's probably good training for beekeeping outfit. And also, I think I would probably have to use the full suit as much as possible because I would be the type to go jumping around going owie, owie, owie if I got stung once, and that would probably attract everyone else to sting me too. Or at least that's what I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah, you never swat at the bees. And the reason that you never swat at the bees is that you're waving that pheromone of fear at them. It's like when your friend used to fart in his hand and then throw it in your face. They're like, oh, God, that stinks. That's basically what you're doing to the bees is you're waving that all around at them, and they're like, oh, God, get him. And then, so you don't ever swat at the bees. That's the theory.
Okay.
So never fart in my hand and throw it at the bees?
I wouldn't suggest it.
They probably wouldn't appreciate it either, Manny.
You're going to be in a bee suit anyway, so never eat Mexican food before you go out beekeeping because you're just going to fart in your own suit, dude, and it's like a space suit, so it's all inside of you, man. It's rising up around your neck and out of your veil and what you're breathing. So.
That's just so icky.
On the bees?
So,
okay.
You drink lots of water. You're working the bees in the hottest part of the day, and the products that the bees make from that work are freaking superior, man. Good honey from like mellow foam honey is like it tastes just like marshmallow.
Marshmallow
man.
fluff,
Good
yeah.
clover honey. It's
my favorite honey.
Yeah,
I've heard all about that meadow foam honey, man.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a contact in New Zealand, and I'm getting ready to make some mead using Montaluca honey. I mean, it cost me almost $36 a pound.
Oh my God!
What?
Yeah, Melaleuca is ridiculously expensive.
Oh well, that's one thing that's why I became a keeper, was to find some of the most exotic honeys to make some of the finer mead. And I mean, I ship in periwinkle honey from Ireland, Montaluca honey from New Zealand, macadamia nut honey from Hawaii. I bring in some ras flower honey from out of Russia. Right, I contact some beekeepers that I respect, doing good work, and I'm using their honey. And you're not buying bulk honey from a distributor where they're selling you honey at $3 a pound. I'm buying from somebody that's selling honey at, the smallest cost I think I got honey was my own at $8 a pound. I sell my honey at $8 a pound, and I think when you're looking for honey, the colors, the tastes, the smells, all are so extremely different all across the board that if you ever go to a beekeeping honey tasting event where they have a fireweed honey to clover honey to buckwheat honey, you're going to see the reds, the yellows, the blacks. You're going to get to see how deep the sugars run to how thin the sugars are, and the taste and the texture, to taste the flower of the plant is tremendous. And that's one of the greatest products that the bees make.